ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. As always, I am your host, Matt Brandon, bringing you all professional wrestling's news, notes, innuendos, and whatever else you can come up with in this wonderful world that is professional wrestling. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a great day. Mine's been fairly good. I can't complain. It's been a decent day. Got to spend some really good time today with the boy. So hopefully he's resting and relaxing right now and we won't hear the screams, right? But he seems to be pretty happy in the end of the show. So we shall see. It's always a trick, right? But regardless, it's good to be with you guys here on the Slow Burn. Wow, last night, man, Raw was good. It was good. Wasn't the best. Matter of fact, it had some very down moments in my opinion. But man, oh man, there were a couple matches here that were just absolutely outstanding. So I want to get into all that. Remember, this is the go home show, right? The Raw last night was the go home show, getting ready for Night of Champions, which takes place this Saturday, live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Looks like everything is still a go right now as far as that. Thank goodness, I talked a little bit about it on Sunday, about how we're just hoping for the best, hoping for safety for everyone involved. But at the same time, we're also hoping for a little bit of wrestling. So, like I said, wrestling is the escape. So maybe that's what we all need right now in these crazy times. But last night, man, Raw, live from Columbus, Ohio. Like I said, ups and downs and ups and downs. It had a little bit of everything. That's my way of saying that it was a little bit jumbled. And it was. I scored the show a B minus. Probably would have been fine getting away with a C plus and not have an issue with it. But regardless, I'm being generous tonight. I'm feeling good, so we're scoring it a B minus. We want to get to some of Raw. Before I get going, I want to very quickly mention Columbus, Ohio. All right. You were very confusing. Columbus, Ohio, and that crowd. That was weird. That was very weird. I don't know. It just seemed like the whole thing was kind of almost a roller coaster for the crowd. They weren't really quite sure what to do, and this was proven in the very opening segment, right? And I don't know. I guess coming off that AEW show from this past Saturday at Seattle, I was really hoping that, and again, I know it's apples and oranges, I get all that, but I was really hoping for a good crowd because a good crowd can make it or break any type of wrestling show. And I want to say this one, I don't know. There was something about it that just didn't hit for me. Now, in the good spots, in the good matches, I thought that the crowd did a very good job, especially the main event. That was a main event crowd. So, and it's things like that kept this thing in that B range as far as our scores. But let's go ahead and get going. Go home show right before Night of Champions. We're going to get the finale set for King and Queen of the Ring. We're going to get a little bit more action set up between some of the other participants that are going to be at Night of Champions. There's a lot to get with. And we open things up with Monday Night Rollins, right? Seth Rollins opens things up. And I had read in a couple different publications that the rumor has it that Seth's song was getting ready to be changed. I'm hoping to God that this song gets changed because this is the biggest confusion that crowds have, right? Is that song hits, you think of Seth Rollins and then boom, whoa, like I get it. I understand. You sing his song. When you see him point to the ear, it's like automatic. Well, the problem is he's out here calling you dumbasses. He's calling you idiots. He's making fun of your town. Like, I know there are a lot of people out there that root for the heels. I'm one of those people. I appreciate, in my old age, I appreciate the work for what it is. Like, there are great heels, there are great baby faces, blah, blah, blah. Back in my day of being younger, young, dumb, and full of shit, we'll call it, I was a heel guy. I rooted for the heels. But the problem is there's like a spackling of like 100 of us in a crowd or 500 of us in a crowd that would be, there to rile up other people. That's what it is. When 10,000 out of 14,000 are singing the song, now we're kind of losing, right? And not everyone can be a babyface in this game. You've got to have good heels, and crowds have to make good heels, and then heels can then get over to crowds over time, and we all know what happens, right? And some people can't be a heel. You can't. Steve Austin, Stone Cold could never be a heel. They tried. It didn't work. I understand that. Seth Rollins is a fantastic heel. Like, he is absolutely great at it. But for some reason, we are gravitating to cheering for him. And I thought Columbus, they were spot on when it come to being confused. All right. And he actually says that in the promo. He says, I told you that you're confused. At one point, you're chanting OTC. The next point, you're chanting CM Punk. And then you're singing my song. How dumb are you? And I thought that was like brilliant. Like, here we go. He's going to circle him back. And I'll be damned if they didn't sing his song again. So, I don't know. It's almost like having a little pride in being a wrestling fan. Like, I don't know. The only people I saw booing Seth Rollins last night, in reality, in the grand scheme of things, were kids. And I guess the heartbeat of wrestling, as far as the emotion of it, it runs a lot on kids. It always has. Hell, we were kids that watched it, right? And you saw the kids booing Seth Rollins, but then you saw their fathers and mothers sitting next to him singing his song. I don't know, makes you kind of think about things a little bit. So maybe it is the children that make the difference with their brains, because they're smarter than a shit ton of adults, I can tell you that. The whole thing worked. The promo worked until it didn't. All right. And I know that sounds stupid. I thought Seth was doing a good job. First off, I want to really compliment Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed looked like an absolute badass, standing behind Seth, arms crossed. Seth would say stuff. He'd nod his head. He'd have that mean fucking mug look on his face. Like, that whole thing was really, really good for Bronson. And I thought early on in the promo, I thought Seth was doing good. And then all of a sudden at the end, he loses it. It's like it all got, what do I say here? Started good, then fell flat because it got long. All right. It got quiet almost at times at the end of that promo. So I don't know. The whole thing overall, it was up and it was down, just like the whole entire show. So I can't sit here and slam it, but I can't sit here and say how much I loved it. I will say that when he was interacting and going off a little bit on the crowd and calling them out for what they were, I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, get them. Please get him, because that's part of what he's doing too. All right. The heel's job is to make you hate him. That's the thing. And honestly, it should be easier to be hated than to be loved. Yet here we are in 2025 and we're looking at a totally different beast. So it is what it is. The promo went well and it shot us into the first match. I was kind of surprised. I thought we would get one of those qualifier matches early. Matter of fact, I thought it would be the women's qualifier. It would be our opening match. What was it, like, damn, 27 minutes in already? But we got Braun Breaker over Penta. I wanted to say this. You come into this match and they've wrestled before. These guys have great chemistry together. And it's really weird because coming into this match and you think, man, oh man, you got really, really strong, hard hitting, but yet fast as lightning Braun Breaker. Nothing he can't do in the power set, and his speed is unmatched. Makes him look so electric at all times. Penta, he's a luchador, but he's also a power set luchador, right? There's nothing that he can't do in Lucha Libre. And you would think that maybe these styles would clash. They don't. This is pure chemistry. I mean, these are, how I refer to it, dance partners. And these two dance partners, I would watch. I mean, you could do the foxtrot all day long in that ring, as far as I'm concerned. The whole thing was good. That match was outstanding. There were 3 outstanding matches. One of them fell flat. This one was not one of those. All right. First off, Braun, it gets better every single time. He's becoming more of a worker, right? He's becoming more of a worker. I would like to see us do more with his facial expressions. I would, but then again, he's a Steiner, so we know that, a Rock Steiner. But I want to say the spear that he hit Penta with, if you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. All right. Penta, he gets thrown off the ropes. He's running the ropes. He jumps on the middle rope to do, I don't know, some sort of springboard. I don't know what the move was actually going to be. I'm pretty sure it was going to be a springboard cross body. But regardless, he hits the springboard and Braun Breaker hits the damn spear and cut him in half. Right. I mean, wow. I love a good spear. I do. I'm a sucker for a good spear. I think there's some really, really good ones out there. Sometimes bronze is as good as you can find, and sometimes it misses the mark because the person that's getting it doesn't want to damn take it that hard. Well, that wasn't the case with Penta, man. He took it. He took it like a champ. And that was one of the better finishes that I've seen in a while, especially from Braun. So, really, really well done. The aftermath of this was great too. Penta got the shit beat out of him here, all right? And Braun beats him clean, by the way. All right, this was a straight up clean win for Braun Breaker. Afterwards, after the match is over, Seth comes out and he's like, all right, he said in his promo he was going to start handling things diplomatically until he didn't, right? Until he couldn't do that anymore. Well, he walked up to Penta, and I'm thinking Bronson's coming with him. Here comes Braun. They're going to beat him down. No. He comes up and very diplomatically says, consider that a warning. And Penta's yelling back at him, but he's holding his ribs. He was banged up pretty good, right? But Seth just like, that's a warning. Just know, if you get in my business again, I'm going to end you. I could have just ended you right now. One of my guys just cut you in half. We could have ended your life right here, but I'm giving you a shot. Stay out of my business. Now, there's two things you look at this. Number one, he tells him that because he views him as a threat. All right, so that's great. We're still pushing Penta. I love that. All right, I want to see Penta in a mix somewhere, in a good feud somewhere. If we can't get him gold, let's keep him with a good feud. What better than this crew he's against right now? Although I want to see him in Braun again. The other thing on top of this, so we're going to keep Penta hot, but it's showing that Seth is more than just a heel. He's kind of like the Godfather, right? He's taking this a step further. Ultra heel, right? I don't have to even do this, but like that, I can get it done. All right. Now you know what can happen. And I just thought, man, that's great storytelling. That is. That's the type of storytelling that I want. That could be great long-term storytelling or short-term storytelling, depending on what direction you want this to navigate in. So I just thought the whole thing, that was a great match. Offensively, defensively, selling, facials, the whole nine. I just thought it was good. It's definitely has a chance to be match of the week had the main event not happened. All right. Because there were two, and I can't give the third a possibility for match of the week because the ending fell flat. But two definitely for sure in this show. All right, so that brings us to a little bit of a stall as we get the Michael Cole interview with Bill Goldberg. All right, and we're now going to address what's going to happen at Saturday night's main event coming up on July 12th, live in Atlanta. Number one, you couldn't do that in front of the crowd. I'm just saying. Or you can only perform in front of the crowd in Atlanta because of what happened last time. I don't know. I thought that should have been a promo. I thought that he should have been out to the ring. I think the crowd, we have earned that right as fans, right? I know that's such a freaking cliche thing, and I know that wrestlers always say that you haven't earned shit. You're just a fan. Well, I think that we earn the right to see if Bill Goldberg can still drop a good promo, right? Just me. And to be quite honest with you, on my end, I earn the right to be able to boo the hell out of Bill Goldberg if I'm in attendance. That's just that. Oldberg doesn't work. So now you've taken that away from the fans. All right. And again, the biggest thing is I know I'm the minority. Guys, I get that. He would have got a hell of a lot more cheers than he would boos. However, I promise you, there would have been a lot less cheers in Columbus, Ohio than what there's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. And this was proven later on in the show, and I'll talk about it. All right. That's the whole thing I had with this. The crowd deserved better, just whatever with this. The one thing I will say is Goldberg's whole thing is, you disrespected my family. You disrespected my family. Well, hell, that was months ago, and right now you're going to do something about it? I don't know. If we're going to lead realism into this thing, then why didn't you do something about it prior? Right? I know you got held back that night, like when you took your family to see an event. Like, I understand that, but at the same time, like, we've had months crickets. right? And now all of a sudden, well, they're coming back to Atlanta where I can get a lot of cheers, so why not? The whole thing, man, I am very negative with this. I know, I try to stay on the positive side, but this shit just don't work for me. So I'm moving on. We had the Queen of the Ring semifinal, the last piece of the semifinal. Jade Cargill goes over Roxanne Perez. Roxanne, that's all I can say. Roxanne, man, she can go. That girl at such a young age, what is she, like 23, something like that? I'm guessing. I know they talk about it a lot. I don't pay attention to Booker. But like at the bottom of this whole match is the fact that Roxanne made it go. You know what I mean? Like Jade is getting better. I am not a Jade Cargill guy. I'm not. Number one, I don't like Indestructible, even though she's becoming more destructible. Um, I don't like her promos. I think that her facial could get better, whatever. But she looks better. She does. She looks better every time out. And when you put her with somebody like Roxanne Perez, I mean, she shined. And I thought that was good. So good on Roxanne. And you're going to hear it here. Good on Jade, right? My wife even said last night watching this, she said, I think she's getting better. Right about that time, there was a slam that got a little kind of shouldered up a little bit. And I thought, oh, really? But then the rest of the match was fairly clean. The one thing I want to say is with Jade going through to the finals against Asuka, it might not be as great a show because Roxanne can just work. I'm not discrediting Asuka. Asuka is though so innovative when it comes to offense, so that could throw things a little wrench in the stuff for Jade. But regardless, I'm interested in it. The main thing right now, Jade's gotten better in the ring every time she goes out. Her promos could use work. We know that. I would love to see her work more on the facials. I would love to see more facial expression. Tell a story with your face, ma'am. That's what I would love to see. And at times she does, and then there's at times like she's just so focused on the next thing in the ring that the facial goes out. You constantly have to sell. You constantly have to deliver when it comes to that. That's how you tell stories. And unfortunately, when you're on the biggest stage, that's what is expected of you. So I'm looking forward to the final. We're going to get Jade versus Asuka. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I think Jade goes over here. I'll do my prediction Saturday, but I think this is kind of setting Jade up for her push and her run. So we see what goes with it. Now, I told you I would get back to something on Goldberg later in the show, and that's going to be right now. Gunther comes out. By the way, that's how it's done. Gunther's promo, yes. All right, first off, angry, emotional, aggressive. That was Gunther. And I don't know if you noticed, he was getting cheers again, right? The other thing, I don't know, he had some lines. I put my notes here. I put Gunther spits fire. That was a badass. Not that was badass. That was a badass. The way Gunther what? The way Gunther presented himself there, a little easier for me there. When the way Gunther presented himself, that's a dude that isn't to be trifled with, right? That's the guy that you walk on the other side of the street from. That's the guy who you don't want to be in the ring with because you know he's going to chop a hole through your chest. Wow, that was good. That's one of my favorite Gunther promos of all time. And I've had some good ones that I've enjoyed of Gunther, but this one really works. So it made me a little more excited about this match on Saturday night's main event. Why? Because I think I'm going to get to see Gunther destroy Bill Goldberg. All right. Number two, they also have announced for sure that this is Goldberg's retirement match. But Michael Cole said, what if he wins? That's a hell of a dilemma. So getting back to Gunther, though, he had a couple lines in this that I wanted to kind of repeat here. All right, the first line he said, "I look at you like a 58-year-old one-trick pony that couldn't lace my boots." Damn. That's awesome. That is so awesome. A 58-year-old one-trick pony that couldn't lace my boots. He even went through, all right, spear, jackhammer. That was always the biggest thing about Goldberg. And I know it's still a thing that wrestling fans jump on, especially young wrestling fans, that your move set. I always make fun of Bobby Lashley. I heckled him one time and said, oh, you've done two of those moves. We're almost done with this, Lashley. And I'll never forget that. But Goldberg is that, and I think it's going to be really fun. I do. And I thought Gunther, without Goldberg being present, I thought Gunther torched him. And by the way, when he gave that line, 58-year-old blah, 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 that couldn't lace my boots, crowd popped, completely popped. All right. So keep in mind that as we move forward with this little rivalry as well. Okay. The other line that he did, and the crowd popped even bigger with this, is when he said that the myth of Bill Goldberg dies. That's what's going to happen. He said on Saturday night's main event on July 12th, the myth of Bill Goldberg dies. Crowd popped, the look in his eye. Dude means business. Like, the dude means total business. So, everything that I disliked with the Goldberg stuff, with the interview, opposite for the Gunther promo. And you know what? Now that you look at it in that perspective, Gunther, if Goldberg would have been in person, it would have been ugly. All right, because the crowd would have turned on him. Gunther would have spit fire on him. Yeah, it would have been bad. It could have been very bad. So I don't know. Maybe the old man made the wise decision. We'll see. Let's just hope that Gunther chops a hole through him in a couple weeks, right? Another match that was fantastic. I don't want to spend as much time on it here because we are running short. Is we had Becky over Bayley for the Women's Intercontinental title. Great match until it wasn't. I know. I didn't need an interference in this match. We've already had multiple interferences. I just feel like we're seeing the same thing over and over again. So what do we got? Uh, Triple threat, right? And that's what we're going to get. We're getting a freaking triple threat. Let's go ahead and book it already. Becky and Bayley and Lyra. It's going to happen. By the way, Becky and Bayley, masterclass. Those ladies. Becky as a heel I'm still trying to come into that style a little bit more. I know it's been done before. It's just a little different this time. But that was a masterclass on how to sell. That was a masterclass on how to dance. It was great. And then Lyra interferes. And what sucks is you knew it was coming because it was telegraphed. The whole thing was telegraphed from the initial interference to the miss to the dodge till then there it is, and Lyra interferes and costs Bayley the title. Just book it. That's all I got to say. Book it. Book the match. Let's move on. All right. Sami Zayn was going to get ready to get interviewed by Jackie Redmond backstage. Karrion Kross makes his appearance again. We are going to get Sammy versus Karrion Saturday night at Night of Champions. I cannot wait. Number one, we get Karrion Kross in a PLE. Thank you. Thank you, Triple H. I appreciate that. The other thing is, Sammy knocked the shit out of him. Oh my gosh. So does that mean we're going to get like ultra aggressive, violent Sami Zayn? Please give it to me, but give it to me as a babyface. I want ultra aggressive, violent Sami Zayn, babyface style. It's going to be awesome. So that actually got me very, very excited for that match. We had a Raquel Rodriguez, like Rachel Karen Green. We had a Raquel Rodriguez Rhea interaction again. I'm spending zero time on it because it sucked. Rhea looked great. Rhea always looks great. They're trying with Raquel, and I know that I've been bigger on her lately, but man, oh man, on the mic, that was brutal. It just wasn't very good. I thought physically she did a great job. The putting Rhea through the table, that was fantastic. Was a little bit surprised the way it worked out. Roxanne again makes the difference. That's when that segment started becoming alive, is when Roxanne got there. Roxanne versus Rhea now becomes more appealing to me than Rhea versus Raquel. The way I look at it, I don't know. But maybe Roxanne is what Raquel needs to be able to get over a little bit more. So let's create that tag team, right? So I'm here for it. I feel like I've really been doing well with the Raquel Rodriguez stuff lately. I was sour on her for a long time, but I've been trying, and now this last night kind of set me back a little bit, but I'm not giving up. So yeah, it is what it is. It wasn't a good segment. Overall, it just wasn't a good segment. Main event, however, wow. What a freaking match, man. Crowd finally gets into it. Now we know. I guess we just needed to have two baby faces going against each other or two heels going against each other to sort the confusion out. But the crowd cooked. Man, when it came to this main event, the crowd cooked. We had Cody go over Jey Uso. By the way, Jay's entrance again, how he's not absolutely blown and exhausted by the time he gets to that ring, I'll never know. Uh, but that crowd was hot for that. So super super good. This is where you get credit where credit's due, right? The whole thing was a great match, man. These are two dudes. It's a shame we only had a week build to this, even though they're friends. Even though we get babyface versus babyface, I just wish we would have had more time to let this marinate because it was that good. This was such a good old school style match, man. We're not flipping, we're not using blood, we're not doing all these freaking crazy ass moves. We're just wrestling, and the moves were there. By the way, that's the most offense that Jey Uso has ever used. For some of you that always discredit him because he only has so many moves, okay, take a lesson on what he did. Number one, how are you at this age still getting better? That's awesome. That's a credit to you because of how much you love your craft. Number two, you can't do it, right? So the whole thing here, wow, I thought Cody looked so, man, Cody's emotion was so strong. When he said I'm sorry, Jay, had that shade of Shawn Michaels to Ric Flair from so many years ago. Like that, man, the match was so damn good. I can't preach it enough. Definitely a match of the week contender here. All right. And it's stuff like this. Like that was the crazy thing about this show. You know, we had something before with the Raquel stuff, and then you come into this main event. So it's like we finished on a very good high. So that's probably why we're sneaking out a B minus. I hope that down the road we can see Cody and Jay go again. I really do. I think that we all deserve that because that match, wow. By the way, if you haven't seen that match, do yourself a favor, watch it. But you don't need to watch the intros. Right, you don't need the 47 minutes of everybody coming down the aisle, or in Jay's case, coming through the crowd. Just watch the match, man. Oh man, I think you'll be impressed. They did it. They did it, and that's what these two dudes are supposed to do. This is why they're the two most over guys, along with CM Punk, obviously. They're the most over dudes in the WWE, man. Whether they're adults, whether you're dealing with kids, men, women, it doesn't matter. And they delivered, and that's what you're supposed to do. When you're the quarterback, you're supposed to deliver. Whether it's Cody that's the quarterback or Jay that's the quarterback, it doesn't matter. What you have is one hell of a quarterback and one hell of a wide receiver to throw it to, and that's the way it's supposed to work. So, great job. Show, like I said, not going to discredit it. We scored it a B minus. It is what it is. All right, guys. Don't forget tonight on CW we have NXT. A lot going on NXT right now. So far, what they've released as far as the card, we got Tony D'Angelo versus Stax Lorenzo. This is for the Heritage Cup, by the way. Noam Dar unfortunately got injured again at a live event this past week, so he's going to forfeit the Heritage Cup, which sucks, man. He just got back from injury, but Tony D versus Stacks for the Cup. I have a feeling that we'll probably see some Luca Cristofino interaction here. All right, we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, we're also going to get Trick Williams versus Josh Briggs. This is for the TNA Championship. We got the TNA Championship being defended on NXT television. That is so damn good. That's great story shit. I love it. I love it. And then our main event tonight, guys, we have a women's fatal four-way with Jordan Grace versus Jada Parker versus Lash Legend versus Izzy Dame. Winner of this match becomes number one contender and will be set to take on JC Jade. And whoever it's going to be. My pick, I'm going Jordan. I want Jordan to have a shot at this belt without taking on Julia or Stephanie Vaquer. So let's let Jordan Grace have her run here. However, will not be surprised at all if we see Jada or Lash come out on top. If either of them come out on top, I would be, okay, that makes sense. I can see it. But I'm hoping for Jordan Grace, and we shall see what happens. So big night tonight on NXT. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow we have AEW Dynamite. All right, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on TBS. I will be back with the Slow Burn on Thursday doing our Dynamite recap. I'll also recap a little bit of NXT as well. But, we'll be back on Thursday for our full Dynamite recap and be able to run through the rest of our weekend, guys. So thank you very much for joining us here on the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. As always, I've been your host, Matt Brandon, bringing you all of professional wrestling's news, notes, and innuendos. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. And remember, in this life, we're wrestling everything. Stay on top.